Recently, by which I mean in 2021, I read Octavia Butler's Kindred. Sad but true. I hadn't read a single book by this iconic and trailblazing black woman sci-fi author. Better late than never, right? My short punchy summary is that it is a gem and Octavia Butler is that biatch. I couldn't put it down. I had work the next day but I slept late because I needed to know how it ended. I loved the protagonist and I felt her anger, her frustration, her joy, and her patience. It goes to show how you can't save people from who they will become, and privilege is a hell of a drug. Like she's really the sci-fi blueprint. It really does stand the test of time. Which from what I've heard, her other works do even better, so I cannot wait to jump onto those. Typically, I'm not a fan of classic literature, but this didn't feel like it. So it was written in the late 1970s, and that made me think about how reading old sci-fi books is sometimes a bit of a disappointment because you have seen the tropes over and over in modern literature and movies. And it is not these trailblazers' faults, it is just I am a child of modern times. The time-traveling aspect. My kryptonite makes me laugh because modern in the book is kind of quaint from a 2023 lens, but it still stands the test of time. Speaking of older books, the first book that took me out of the world and kind of shook me, because I had never really got about authors as people with worldviews, was Ender's Game by Orson Scott. At that time, I hadn't really internalized that authors can purposely or inadvertently share their worldviews in their writing. So, here was me encountering blatant homophobia and sexism in the book. It was also done in such a way that it didn't feel like it naturally belonged in the world of the book. For instance, how with A Song of Ice and Fire, you don't walk away thinking that GRMM believes the sexism he presents in his world. But in this case it genuinely felt like it was Orson's worldview, and not his characters. Rant over. Apologies, I do get carried away sometimes. Now back to all things Kindred. I should talk about the recent 2022 adaptation of Kindred as an FX TV show. That was exciting. The legend finally coming to a small screen. I liked that they said it in 2022, sorry, my modern child bias is showing again, but what I did not like was that Dana and Kevin were not married. And that she started time traveling after their first Tinder date. It is not like they knew each other before that, note. So, it really did not make sense why Kevin would stick around to help Dana. Anyone would have been justified in ghosting Dana after that first time, and never looking back. So, to end, read Kindred or just Octavia Butler in general, and maybe watch the TV show adaptation as well.